are back. It is the closing table, and it's time for another episode. I'm here with my boy, Ben Hawkins, Lend with Ben, Cornerstone Lending, one of our primary sponsors. And I'm Doug Yop with the Ocean Air Realty. We're here to help you with all your real estate needs, but today we're here to have fun and talk about what's going on in the world. Ben, welcome. How are you, brother?
I'm doing well, Doug. I hope you are.
I'm doing great. It looks like Hulk rules on your end. I love to see it.
Well, it's not just Hulk rules. It's Hulk rules forever.
Forever.
What you gonna do,
I love
Doug?
it.
What you gonna do, brother, when the closing table comes for you?
Amazing. All right. Well, let's hit the ground running today with something new. Ben, the Hurricanes are advanced to the Eastern Conference Finals. They are 8-0, swept the first two series. Man, they're looking good. The problem is now that they're going to have about a week off because the way the schedule stacks up and waiting for their opponents to finish their series. Are you following the Canes since we've been talking about them, and what do you think about what's going to happen next?
Dominating performances. I mean, they look great. I like you said on the last show, I think it'll be interesting when the level of competition starts to peak, and it's going to. But they're on fire. I mean, ride the momentum. I know you get a week off, but maybe they can use that to get healthier or rest up any ailments that are going on. I don't see them coming out flat. These guys know how to win, and I just love it for the city of Raleigh and the state of North Carolina to have such a super competitive major team in any sport. It's fantastic to see. I mean, we're really on the rise in hockey, football, basketball with the Hornets. A lot of things are going on great with North Carolina professional sports right now. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, man, I just hope that they don't lose that momentum because you've seen it time and time again in the playoffs in lots of sports. Teams have too much time off. They're playing really well, and then they lose their mojo. They lose their momentum, right? And they can't pick it back up. So I'm sure they're working really hard. They're probably doing some, practice games, some simulations, exhibition stuff to keep them game ready. Hopefully they're getting rest, and hopefully they're staying sharp because, I think the level is really going to pick up next round. And while they've looked dominating, it only matters what you do next, not what you just finished doing. So we'll see what happens, but definitely pulling for them. Definitely so excited for North Carolina. But let's keep the gravy train moving to your approved. Ben, rates aren't really getting better, at least since last week. And our huge piece of information came out, which we've actually been tracking and talked about several times on the show, but it hit a new high number. The most sellers more than buyers in basically history. Over 630,000, I believe, was the number. It doesn't mean that the housing market is collapsing by any means. I had clients get under contract, buyers in multiple offers this week. So the right homes are still moving quickly. What are you seeing on your end?
I mean, I agree of course, it's hard to disagree with factual numbers, right? But I also think that I think that this could set us up for home values decreasing if we're not careful here. And I think this Iran conflict needs to be over and done. All of this, in my opinion, is a direct result of the Iran conflict because of the fact before it went down, rates were starting to dip. The markets are anticipating getting a new aggressive Fed chairman in there in the next week and a half. And people were getting excited again. Now we've seen that start to draw back a bit with the uncertainty in the markets. I wish that we would go in, being that we're already there in Iran, we've already done what we've done. We need to go in and get this over with. And I'm tired of the negotiations. These people haven't negotiated in good faith in 50 years, and I'm done. I'm done with it. It's affecting our clients' ability to buy. It's affecting my ability to earn money selfishly as it pertains to people that are looking to obtain a mortgage. So I'm over it, and I'm ready for it to get done. And this is a quick recipe, if we're not careful, to home values starting to decrease. Because perhaps most of these sellers, say 50% of them, are selling because they have to. They have to move. They have a job change. They have a life event where they have to get out of the house that they're in. Well, they're going to take less for their house as a result because there's not that many buyers coming to the table. Therefore, negotiations can go the way of the buyer. So, if we can get all this stuff put to bed finally and be done with it, perhaps these numbers will start to sway more towards the buyer side. If we could just get one steady market, I'd be tickled to death. It's always one or the other. Either it's great for buyers or great for sellers. Let's have it where it's equally yoked for both. That's my take on it.
That's the best sweet spot, really. And we had that for a while back when rates were between 4 and 5%, back in probably 2015, 2016, 2017 range, before rates just bottomed out. That was a great time. Yeah, there were multiple offers, but they weren't rampant. Buyers weren't having to go crazy 5-figure due diligence to win multiple offers with 8 different offers. It was just a really sweet, balanced time. And I think that's ideal for the market if we can get back there. Now, is there a switch that we can flip? Unfortunately, not that easily. Are there things that we could do that will move us in that direction? Yeah, and I hope that we do. And I hope that they happen quickly. To your point, it really hurts us and how we're able to support our families. But it's not just us. It's the whole economy. Yeah, we're going to highlight mortgages and we're going to highlight lending and we're going to highlight buying and selling. But it's not just us. We're just one of the many people that's being affected. And not just that, but because we talk about it every week, oil's back up over $100 a barrel this week. It was 103 when I checked earlier today, crude. So, I mean, that's not headed in the right direction either. So we got to hold on. We got to pray. We got to hope that maybe something from this China summit comes out that could affect all of this stuff positively. So we'll see what happens. But let's keep it moving. On the hunt. This is a very appropriate topic for our attire today. Everybody wants old school summer again. You've got your Hulk Rules shirt on. I've got my Braves batting practice jersey on that I had in middle school. By the way, I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing that I can still wear it since I had it in middle school. But nostalgia is everywhere right now. It feels like we're just dripping with it. And I absolutely love it. I love the nostalgia. We grew up in a great time in the 80s and 90s. And there were a lot of things that people yearn for that I think we wish we could go back to. And there's nothing wrong with reminiscing in that a little bit, as long as you don't get too stuck in it. So tell me what screams old school summer to you.
I mean, honestly, I get a bit nostalgic when, and it's the only time I really like AI is when I'm on the social media apps and those reels that say, this is what a summer was like in 1980 something or summer in 1990s, whatever. And it shows you old generated pictures of what that time frame looked like. And I just love that because I remember a lot of that stuff, So for me, it's water. Old school summers, always at the pool. It's going on trips, things like that with the family. For me, my summers are built around my son, Luke, now. So I try to bring some of the old nostalgia that I remember as a kid that was a lot of fun and apply it to the things that we do. I don't think there's anything wrong with that because I know it was a lot of fun. And I can also see him having a lot of fun through some of those ideas and things that I used to do as a kid. And you probably experienced the same thing with your boys, Doug. I miss those days of simplicity. I miss the 80s like crazy. I really do. I was young back then, but reflecting upon that time frame, our country was so patriotic. Everybody was, America, America, let's go. It just seemed like a great time in our country's history. That decade was remarkably unbelievable, and it set up for a very nice 90s. So I wish we could get back to some of that simplicity, some of the common sense things that used to apply in the 80s. And, I like applying a lot of those things into my son's summers now. And so I hope that makes sense, but I'm sure it does to some of the parents out there.
Yeah, sure. It absolutely does. I'm right there with you. Summer to me always meant baseball. That was the only sport I really played with any passion growing up. Loved it. And last night I watched the Braves on TBS. Just like I was probably doing 30 years ago,
Right.
So that was, for me, that was absolutely fantastic. And just, to kind of relish in that and get the boys to watch with me too. The Braves, by the way, still have the best record in baseball. We're keeping it going. They had a big series with the Dodgers this weekend and took 2 out of 3. And now they're up against the Cubbies. Shout out to my brother, Brandon. That's his team. Braves took the first game. So we'll see how it goes. And I'll be in Atlanta about a month from now at the World Cup, and then we're going to see the Braves play. So very excited about where my old school summer is headed with that. But let's keep it moving to lock it in, and let's make a prediction. Ben, you very wisely mentioned the new Fed chair should be elected into his place this week. He was put, His board position was affirmed yesterday, I believe. I believe his chair position should be affirmed Friday. So I want you to lock it in. Are we going to see a rate cut in the first meeting after the new Fed chair takes over? Yes or no?
Possibly, yes. It's 50-50. And the reason I say that, if we go back 8 weeks ago, the answer would have been an emphatic yes. But since the Iran conflict and the price of oil, where it's sitting right now, and also inflation driving up as a result of all of that, I don't know. I think perhaps he will as a goodwill gesture. Jerome Powell, if he would have cut rates the way he was supposed to before this Iran conflict began, because he had all the market data to do it, that's not up for debate. It's all there. It was all there. He didn't do it, and here we are. So had he done it, the Iran conflict may not have been impacting us as severely as it is now. It's a domino effect. So to answer your question, I think perhaps maybe a quarter, something like that, just as a goodwill gesture to say, hey, it's a new day in here. And I know that Trump is definitely going to be asking this guy to do it. And I also believe that this guy was handpicked because he will do what he's asked to do within reason. The market data has to allow for it. And right now, honestly, the market data doesn't. If we're being fair and transparent, it really doesn't. Yeah. So if he doesn't do it, I get it, and I won't be upset. If he does, I think it would be more of a goodwill gesture just to say, hey, there's a new sheriff in town.
I mean, I think you nailed it. Unfortunately, the data really doesn't support it right now as much as we need it. That doesn't mean we get it or should get it. You're right. It should have been done months ago, and we'd be having a completely different conversation now. Probably make a lot more sense to hold steady. I think that it would be a good sign ultimately if he did, or if they did agree to a minimal, like you're talking about, just as a sign of good faith. Hey, this is our goal. We want to get there. But just realistically, with everything that's going on right now, we can't really do it. I think the other thing we have to pay attention to is, the markets kind of hurt us a little bit in over anticipating the rate cuts over the last year or so. We've seen them over anticipate, and then they bump back up after the adjustment was or wasn't made. So right now we're not seeing that they're anticipating anything because the rate has not gone down. So
but here's the thing. They anticipated those cuts because all the data was there. Stevie Wonder could see the data and say, oh, yeah, right, cut rates. It's unreal. So yeah, to your point there, it was to me, it was not done on purpose. It was not cut on purpose. And there's no explanation for why it wasn't. So goodbye, Jerome Powell. Pound sand. We'll see you hopefully never.
Yeah, there you go. All right, well, let's keep it moving on to due diligence. Why do some listings get tons of showings but absolutely no offers? Ben, I know this isn't your wheelhouse because you're on the other end of it, but what do you think?
I think I want to defer to the expert with the Oceanair Realty over here, Doug Yop. That's what I want to do. I should have asked you this question. Why don't you enlighten us, Doug?
Well, I'll tell you, I always tell my clients, if the pictures don't look good, then nobody's going to come see it. So we have to do the absolute best job we can to get it ready for pictures, because if they don't like the way it looks online, they're not going to call their agent. They're not going to call me. They're not going to book a showing. So first and foremost, you got to do that. Second, it's got to look like that when they get there. So you can't clean it up for the pictures and then it looks like a pigsty when they get there. You got to keep things minimal. You got to keep things clean while you're continuing to live there and prep for showings. The third, but ultimately most important thing after the pictures and getting people there is if it's priced right. It's always going to come down to price. I can't tell you how many buyers and sellers I have the same conversation with, whether it's setting the expectation up front or having the conversation on the buyer side with an offer. Let me show you the data. I can tell you if it's priced right or not. So, every listing agent is going to work with a seller that I want this price. Well, that's great that you want it, but what makes you think that the market is saying it's worth that? It doesn't matter what you need. It doesn't matter that you bought it for X last year and you need to make sure you clear X so you don't lose money. The market doesn't care. And I'm not trying to be mean. I'm trying to set the right expectation, because if I allow you to believe one thing and 3 months later something else is happening, then I look like the bad guy. I'm not going to be the bad guy. Right. I'm going to tell you straight up what's happening. So the conversations I'm having with clients now are, A, it's overpriced. We talked about it at the beginning. You wanted to go here. It's time to make the reduction. Or B, nothing's moving in that neighborhood. And here's why. Because there's 630,000 more sellers than buyers right now.
Right.
So if you're a seller right now, you have to over prepare, you have to lower your expectations, and you have to be patient. And I'm just being honest with you. If you want to have a good process. For buyers, yeah, you got lots of choices, but be prepared. If you find the one that just hit the market that I can prove to you is priced really well and it looks like $100, then everybody and their mother's going to be jumping on it because buyers aren't settling right now. They want turnkey, they want price right, they want the right location. They don't want to get in there and have to make a bunch of repairs or have a bunch of liabilities after closing. So just some things to think about.
Yeah, absolutely. Great points, Doug.
All right, let's keep it moving. It's my favorite session every week, and that is Fix This, where the old grumpy men get to gripe. Ben, how come every time I try to log into something, it tells me my password is wrong? My password is the same for every single thing.
It's unbelievable. It's super frustrating. It has to be this many characters long. Can't change your password to something it was over the last 4 passwords or whatever. Just leave me alone. Let me set one password. If a hacker figures it out, it's on me. I'm done. I don't like having to do this all the time. It's annoying. It's frustrating. And God forbid I don't write down the new password that it makes me create. And then I have to do it all over again with resetting it and then somehow try to remember that password. Even if I write it down, I'm liable to leave it at the office and I'm at home and I need to log into something. Just stop with it. It's madness. And I'm a grumpy old man about passwords right now, for sure.
I'm pissed and I'm not afraid to tell everybody.
Let me tell you like it is.
I've got a Mac, so I can log in with my fingertip, with my fingerprint, But the most frustrating thing about that is, well, after you use the thing to pull up your username, then you have to do it again to enter your ID or your password, and then you have to do it again to enter your passkey because all of these sites require, secondary authentication. It's like I just used the same fingerprint to do 3 things. Why doesn't it just apply? It's just mind-boggling. And whatever. It's so frustrating. I don't even want to talk about it anymore. So screw it. Let's move on. It's not going to get any better. That's for sure.
Right.
But
I agree.
This should be a great topic. So in our counteroffer topic, the last 2 episodes we've talked about music. I got a different one for you this week, Ben. We're going to have a food fight. What is the best food pick? 2 Southern North Carolina legends. Are you going for the Cookout tray? Are you going for the Bojangles Southern Biscuit Combo with fries and a sweet tea?
I mean, okay, let me break this down for everybody. And you're probably going to be wildly disappointed. I don't understand why you guys love Cookout so much. I don't.
Oh,
I don't.
Okay.
No, I can't. It's not good. It's not good. It's not fresh. And they have lines out the door or around the block at the one by UNCW off College Road here in Wilmington. So they must be doing something right. Somebody really enjoys it, but I don't think it's that good. So with that being the case, it's Bo time, baby. I wore the red and yellow, not just for Hulk, but for Bo freaking Jangles. Let's go.
That's fantastic. I mean, this for me is probably a push because it depends on what meal you're looking for. Bojangles, Saturday or Sunday morning, the Southern Filet Biscuit Combo with fries and a sweet tea. I can't tell you how many times I've been to the one on Hillsborough Street when I was in college. Saturday or Sunday morning, that's where you go to recover, right? Go get that combo. Yeah. Now, Bojangles as an adult, man, we hit it all the time because the kids love the tenders combo. When we're on the road, soccer coming back, and heck, I love the Bojangles fried chicken. There's nothing wrong with it. And the mashed potatoes are great too. So it's a great combo for breakfast and lunch. But if I'm going for a time of day, I'm picking Bojangles for breakfast. That's the clear winner. Now, Cookout, I think Cookout has great burgers, especially the A1 steak style burger. They've got a great Cajun grilled sandwich. They've got quesadillas that rival any Mexican restaurant. They're great. I'll tell you, when you can get those as a side, you can really load up. It's definitely economically the best combo you're going to get anywhere. But also, they've got one thing that Bojangles doesn't have, and that's the milkshakes, brother. And you cannot beat a Cookout milkshake. A Cookout milkshake. So for me, Bojangles for lunch, for breakfast, Cookout for lunch, and the milkshake for basically any time of day. That's what I'm going.
That's fair.
All right, let's keep it moving. Let's get local. North Carolina lens. I mentioned this to Amanda just the other day. There are orange barrels everywhere. Did the pollen bloom more DMV workers? Because every single road everywhere, there's a lane shut down. There's a ton of orange barrels, at least here in the Triangle. Heck, the road outside of my neighborhood's been worked on for 6 months now. What's happening up your way in Porter's Neck in Wilmington?
I mean, it's awful. It takes 10 years to fix one pothole, it seems like, or to add a stretch of road. I mean, I would love to have those things audited. Okay, we're taking taxpayer dollars and we're spending it with these contractors to go out there and develop the roads and do all this stuff, and they milk the clock. It takes 10 hours to do a foot of road, it seems like, and they've got 45 people gathered around watching one person driving a front end loader or whatever. It's unreal, and as a result, traffic is a disaster. It's a disaster. When I travel to Kentucky, I meet all kinds of it, and they've been working on these damn things since I moved down here, 15 years ago. The same stretch of road has the same orange barrels still sitting there. It's ridiculous. I would love to audit how much money is being spent and how quickly they should have gotten the job done. Why is that not ever happened? Can we answer that question? So, I don't know. I'm a grumpy old man about this one because it's aggravating. It's irritating. And they also wait and do it until there's heavy traffic flow. Sometimes the road closures they have where it's down to one lane, they'll do it at 5 o'clock in the afternoon during rush hour traffic. Give me a break. Use your head a little bit. Plan better. Get on the ball and get the job done. What incentive do they have for completing it early? There must be none because it never happens.
Well, you make absolutely great points, and this would probably be a terrible thing to say out loud, but I'm going to say it anyways. Maybe Trump can bring back some Chinese workers because they seem to get those bridges built like in a week. And don't get me started on the Beltline in Raleigh. I've been in Raleigh since 1997, and they've been working on it since then. And I think they're really just generally screwing with the public. If you look at the way they're routing the exits and everything now, it just seems like pure insanity, fever dream. Some dude just woke up and started sketching in the air and said, all right, well, let's build it this way. And by the time they finish it, it's going to be outdated. They're just going to have to start on it again. It's just perpetual.
It is. And it feels like a fleece is what it feels like to me. It feels like getting fleeced.
Good point. All right, well, let's keep it moving to our final walkthrough. We touched on it a little bit earlier, but let's really talk about one of those summer memories that really stands out. I'm going to start first. For me, it was always, the last day of school, whether it was when you were younger and you had the field day and you had all the events outside, which was always really fun, or just when you got older, cleaning out your locker, maybe leaving school early with your friends, heading to the beach, or maybe heading out of town with your parents. That smell of the school being empty or emptying and everything, and everybody getting out of there, maybe some of your friends graduating and moving on. And then you're like, well, wow, now I'm a junior, now I'm a senior. Just how quick things happen. And, now I'm seeing it from another perspective. You're not quite there yet, so hold on to those days. Everett's going to be a junior next year. Winslow he's wrapping up middle school. So now I've got 2 high schoolers. I was talking with the principal at my kid's school this week, and her daughter is graduating, and she's like, usually I'm happy this time of year because, we've wrapped up a great year and everybody's excited about vacation. This year, she's like, hold on, stop. I'm not ready for it to be over with yet because, my daughter's leaving. So just a lot of really great memories, but it's also fun kind of how those memories and really cool experiences start to evolve as you get older. How about you?
I mean, I get to live vicariously through Luke right now, and seeing the excitement that he has with field day or the sports he's getting into. He's actually starting tackle football for the first time.
All right, here we go.
As a 9-year-old, and that's about the time that I started as well. And I think he's ready for that. So it brings me back to 2-a-day football practices. It brings me back to getting ready for a busy season. I just love summer overall. I love how it's not getting dark until 9 o'clock at night. I love that kind of stuff. Boat days. I long for the June boat days, the best month really to get out. At least it feels like the best month. Maybe it's because of all the anticipation of it being there to go out and anchor the boat out all day and relax, have fun. Luke and his buddies go out and play on some of the islands, just have a blast. So for me, summertime is just wonderful. It's like I don't need to leave Wilmington to take a vacation during the summer. Why? I have everything where would I go vacation that I don't have right here? Because I love the beach. I love the sand. I love the water. I have everything in my backyard. So it's a wonderful place to live and not feel like you need to take a vacation from it. In the wintertime, do I want to go to Florida and have I gone to the Keys or whatever? Absolutely. It's a nice getaway. Don't get me wrong. When it's, 50 degrees here, it's 80 there. So I enjoy that. But I mean, overall, I get to live vicariously through Luke now. And a lot of the things that he either is experiencing or learning about, as a young guy, he just turned 9 the other day. It brings me back to those feelings that I had, like you were talking about with your buddies at school, packing out the locker, getting ready for field day events and graduation or whatever the case may be. So yeah, man, I just love it. It's very nostalgic. I'll use that word again. And just experiencing it through a different lens as a parent, really kind of centers. It helps me stay grounded with it. Like it doesn't feel like that distant of a memory for me anymore.
Yeah.
Because I can recall and reminisce.
And I think one thing that's really fun about that is when your kids start to get to the age that you remember doing things, it takes on, a whole new light. Like I remember being a sophomore in high school and, things like that. So things start to overlap a lot more. And it's kind of wild, actually. All right, but let's keep it moving on to our last step because, Ben, it's closing time. What are you looking forward to? What are you keeping your eye on over the coming week?
Well, I mean, I've been glued to the Iran situation, but we're just sitting there doing nothing, waiting on people that have no business in negotiating in good faith to negotiate with us. Go in and get this thing over with. We're done. I didn't bother me that you went over there to rid them of the ability to have a nuclear weapon. What bothers me is we're sitting on our hands right now. There's no excuse for the Strait of Hormuz not to be wide open if we just utilize our military power and take them out. It's done. They're done. They've had enough. They're done. We're negotiating with people that don't have a leg to stand on. So I'm keeping a close eye on that. I'm sick of it. I'm tired of it. I'm also keeping an eye on the Fed chairman, him being seated at the table, if you will, and seeing what happens market-wise with that. And if he does decide to make a rate cut right now. So there's a lot of things at play. I'm also keeping a close eye on the 10-year Treasury bond. It's almost up over 4.5% again. That's not good for mortgage interest rates. How about you, Doug? What are you tuning into, if you will?
Well, since you got all the heavy stuff covered, I'm going to keep an eye on the Braves and their series versus the Cubs over the next 2 nights and see if they can wrap that up and secure a series win and hold on to the best record in baseball. Going to wait and see what happens on the other side of the bracket in the Eastern Conference playoffs to see who the Canes are going to end up playing. I'm keeping an eye, too, on the NBA playoffs. The Lakers just got eliminated earlier this week and OKC advanced. So we'll see if that's the end of LeBron's career and what happens next. So there are still a lot of fun sports things to watch out for. College baseball, we're moving towards the postseason, conference tournaments, and then beyond that. So I'm going to try and keep my eyes on fun things for now while keeping a side eye on all the stuff I know that you're watching too, which I'm sure we'll be talking about on our next episode next week when we get right back here at the closing table with my boy Ben Hawkins, lendwithben.com with Cornerstone Home Lending, and Doug Yop, the Ocean Air Realty. Please like, Please subscribe. Please comment. Please share with your friends. Let us know what you want us to talk about. If you've got a restaurant or a song you'd like us to debate, please send it to us. We love your ideas. But until we get back to the table next time, the docs are signed and we're hitting the road, Ben. It's been a great time, and I'll see you next time on the closing table.
Have a great week, guys.